Hey everybody, ronarray here, and hope your league start is going great. The economy is developing pretty fast, so what to farm is a really blooming question. For multiple leagues, I've been doing stack decks farming videos, since it was a very consistent and easy to do farm for a very long time. I think in 3.28, decks farming is better than ever. So in this video, I will do a breakdown for both very cheap and pretty easy to do, but solid basic strategy, which can make you a pretty decent profit without even using your brain at least a little, and more expensive but more profitable one as well, providing you with all information that you will need as usual to farm it yourself. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you appreciate more detailed farm videos, and let's go. So now let's talk about the start of the strategy and the basic version of it. It's very simple. So you will practically need to use Divination Scarab of the Cloister. Those are limited to 5 and you will need to use 5 of them for your maps. It's very important to have exactly 5, not 4, so you will need to open all your map slots, so Scarabs stacking together pretty well, and providing more decks when you have more in your maps. For all variations of that strategy, we're going to always use 5 Divination Scarab of the Cloister. At the moment, that Scarab is very cheap. You can practically get more than 100 for Divine, or if you're paying with Chaoses, you can practically get 1 Scarab per 1.82 Chaos. So if you're buying 5 Scarabs, you will pay less than 10 Chaoses for entrance, which is absolutely amazing and very cheap at the moment as any other strategy. So just put all Scarab and the Cloisters in, add your map and go. That's pretty much the basic strategy. However, there's a few cool tricks that you can use to maximize amount of the stuff that you are dropping. And first off is map itself. So generally I recommend to run 8 mod maps. So reaching for higher quantity and higher pack size as well. Generally you will drop some additional currency during those maps, and if your build can handle it, I believe that running 8 mods is always better. I don't think that going for 16.5 worth it, so just 8 mods for normal 16s. However, if your build for some reason can't handle 8 mods at the minute, you can just take a basic map, color it with Orb of Alchemy, add a few Exalted Orbs, and you will get a map with about 30% pack size and 75% quantity, which is going to be more than enough for the basic version of that farm. And in terms of maps which you should use, there are practically a few options which are going to maximize amount of monsters spawning in your rituals. So for that strategy we are going to use the rituals, because when we are killing monsters and rituals, they're dropping stack decks again, which is pretty important. So practically we have only a few options. First one is Jungle Valley. It's been a very important map that people have been running very often. It also stacks pretty nice with like Ether altars, and it's recommended for a lot of basic strategies. So Jungle is a default option. Here you're going to get a lot of rituals stuck together. So going forward, we also have a second option, which is Mesa, for the same reason. The map is pretty compact, you will be able to spawn more ritual and more monsters inside the ritual, and it's also very easy to reach the boss at Mesa. And since Mesa is working fine, I think there's another option, which is City Square. It looks kinda similar to Mesa, so the big circle, the boss at the center, and there's a lot of open space too, so rituals are going to catch more monsters. Personally, I prefer to just farm junk, but I did tests on all the maps, and I think all 3 are working just fine for it. But Jungle Valley is my personal favorite, and I definitely recommend it too, especially since it starts very well with altars, and you will be able to get more from those altars, even with chances for Divine Altar if you actually will be very lucky. Now let's talk about the Atlas for the strategy. So for the basic variation and for more expensive variations, the Atlas is going to be the same. So you will need to take all chances for ritual right here, and make sure that your maps contain ritual altars. I recommend to block other mechanics so they will not drop bad Scarabs, practically leaving Sacred Grove, Breach, Ultimatum and Kalguran unlocked. You obviously will need ritual unlocked too, because we need to spam it. And I recommend to take Shaping the Skies and Shaping the Mountains together with some map nodes right here, because we are going to drop occasional nightmare maps, we're going to drop 16.5, we can sell all of them, which is very nice in general. So I'm also going up taking all explicit modifiers, it's definitely recommended for pack size, 4 rituals right here, and since occasionally I'm using Astrolabs, going for synthesized stability is in my opinion worth it. If you're not using Astrolabs like ever, I'm going to cover it a little later in this video, you can just drop that point. So right here we're investing basic points practically everywhere, and one last point could be pretty flexible, you can just replace that one right here for the full ritual setup. Generally, a ritual in that map, in that strategy, is needed only to replicate your Daedra's Devoted. You don't really care about loot from ritual, and generally it should be pretty relaxed. I'm still taking Flexible Dogma and Profitable Prayers, so we can reroll ritual a little more often and get nice occasional rewards such as invites to the king and basic stuff like that. I'm also spending a few points to get Trapping Carapaces or Ambush Scarabs in case we will drop some. But that's pretty much it, that's the whole atlas. So here is the maps that I showcased at the start of the video, here are the modifiers, and I just finished it. I still have the ritual up, so I'm probably just going to buy something very basic here, because most of it is not really worth anything. And that's what I ended up with. Here's my inventory after finishing that map, and that's Mirage. So I practically got 85 stack decks, together with 24 chaoses, one nightmare map, which is around like 20 chaoses itself at the moment, 2 maps and Orb of Fusion, plus a little bubblegum here and there. So all of that is going to give me practically 1 divine, because just stack decks for 1 divine you need about 90-95 at the moment, but I still have 24 additional chaoses, I have a Scarab, I have a little fusings, I have a nightmare map for 20 more, so I'm absolutely sure that we are going to make 1 divine in profit. And I paid only 10 chaoses for Scarabs, so after 1 map you should be able to have almost 1 divine of pure profit, or even a little over 1 divine if you will get a little more lucky. And in terms of stack decks, I think the absolute minimum you should have is like 60 something, so like 67, 65, stuff like that. And the absolute maximum should be around 100, which is happening from time to time, but usually you will be a little lower than that, so approximately like 80, 79, and the rest of the currency just coming from chaoses, bubblegum, and maps, which are dropping very often. There is also a chance that you will get anything good from the ritual, but unfortunately pretty often the ritual is just empty, so just click your rerolls until you will get anything nice in there. Now let's talk about more expensive version of the strategy, which can give you more than 1 divine of currency per map. So generally there are maps that has area contains an empowered Mirage which covers the entire map. At the moment, such maps usually cost about 40 chaoses approximately, they're in demand, so sometimes it even go higher, so like 42, 43. But it will be pretty easy to make that currency back from the Mirage, because it's going to spawn a lot of additional monsters for us. In that case, we also will be able to use a Templar Astrolab, because Templar Astrolab we will provide additional pack size for us, and since we already investing a lot, we can pretty much just click it at the zone. First, I will need to visit the memory vault for it. So at the moment, Temporal Astrolab can pretty much pay for itself pretty often if you will get anything cool out of it. So right here I have Reflecting Mist that I just got, and it costs like 11 divines. It's pretty much a gamble, but investing in it is not the horrible idea. So after that, we will need to take the map, make it like a 6 mod, perfectly as high quantity as you can, and getting a little more pack size would be pretty nice for it as well. Add the same set of Scarabs, the same altars and the same map, and we can practically go in. So when you will join the map in the Mirage, you will be able to access the whole map, which is very good for stack deck farming. At the moment, you will also get more rituals. You can get even up to 4 rituals in your full Mirage map, and your chances for reward from that ritual is going to be higher as well. So here is a map completed with the same things when we have like a full Mirage, which is covering the whole map. And it will also give you 4 rituals, as I already mentioned. I ended up with 120 stack decks, which is a very decent number. We're practically getting 40 additional stack decks compared to a normal map with a normal Mirage instead. And you're paying 40 chaoses approximately for a map like that, but getting 40 stack decks instead, which is 80 chaoses. That way you're making additionally 40 chaoses of just pure profit from the stack decks based on that. And you're also getting additional other loot. There's a chance to get something better from ritual because it's going to provide a lot of tribute for you, and also a chance to roll better altars and drop better basic loot in general. The only thing that we will need to consider here is time, because you will need to complete the whole map in the Mirage in that case, and it will take a little longer. However, if you're completing the maps pretty fast, I believe it could be worth it, because you're going to end up with more currency. So for the expensive strategy, it is also pretty important to just keep in mind the price of the map. If the price of the full Mirage map will go too far and it will be too high, I honestly recommend to just go with cheap strategy, because it will be much more stable in terms of profit. However, if you will be able to buy those maps cheaper, or if you're running them very fast, I think adding that is definitely a way to improve your profit just from stack decks in general. It's also pretty important to keep the stack decks price in mind as well, because you will need to make sure that you're selling them for as high as possible. They usually go about 2 chaoses per 1 stack deck, and it's definitely recommended to just sell it for that. Don't underprice them, and check both prices for the Divine and prices for chaoses, because selling stack decks properly is one of the most important part here for better profit. Or you can just open your stack decks yourself, and in that case you're going to get a lot of currency or absolutely nothing, depending on your luck. So I hope that video will help you out to farm more currency, because especially the cheap strategy at the moment is very good. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. ronarray out.